In July 1999, I was getting ready to ride home after work. I was waiting for a traffic light at an intersection when a speeding sports car hit me from behind. Both the bike and I were knocked off the road. I ended up falling heavily to the ground. Most of my internal organs were ruptured and several of my ribs were broken. Fortunately, a traffic cop was nearby and he quickly radioed for an ambulance. What happened after that I don't know. One moment I was riding my bike, and the next, I appeared in a place of complete darkness. Here I had no sense of direction. I heard strange noises coming from the distance. As the sound got closer, I noticed that it was an evil creature. It was surrounded by flames and had huge eyes and teeth. It kept growling at me. There was evil in its gaze. It stuck out its long red tongue at me. I couldn't move in place and there seemed to be no way I could avoid this thing. The creature was advancing at an increasing speed. There was nothing I could do but close my eyes. The creature passed through my body, trying to melt me with the flames around it. The demon let out a gleeful laugh. Suddenly, I was moving forward quickly. As I was moving, two more demons approached me. They had different colors on them, but they were still scary. Soon, I came to the entrance of a black tunnel. The tunnel seemed to be made of clouds. The tunnel went all the way up. This tunnel was not a straight line, she had many forks in the road. I couldn't see where it led to. I looked down at myself and realized that my body had disappeared. I was now a blue-white light. This feeling made me feel very free. I also saw many luminous bodies like mine wandering around the tunnel. Two white luminous bodies appeared beside me and gently pushed me into the tunnel. On the way forward, I saw many forks in the road. Some of the junctions led to hell. There were screams coming from there. People were in a blasted field, with bubbling excrement everywhere. Demons and other animals were torturing these people in different ways. The smell there was very disgusting. In another tunnel I saw a different scene. A group of people were walking with their heads down on the barren yellow earth. They were like walking corpses. Each one acting confused. I didn't dare to get too close. I continued flying up the tunnel and I saw a beautiful forest garden. There were waterfalls and forests inside. Curious, I walked towards the doorway. As I started to go through the doorway, a voice said, "You can't enter this world for the time being." At that moment, I felt disappointed. Then, I noticed a light to the right of the fork in the path. I entered this light and the only thing I felt was joy. I learned a lot of things here. Finally, I decided to leave. I said to the light, "I'm leaving." I continued to walk down the tunnel. I heard someone shouting, "Don't go, what about your son?" My son was only 5 years old at the time. I was acting a little impatient with these voices. I just wanted to stay here now and had no intention of going anywhere else. A living being appeared next to me. He said, "If you keep going, you can't come back." When I woke up from the ward, I still had a respirator tube in my mouth. Although I couldn't move any part of my body, I was filled with strength. I knew that God was in that light and that He was part of it. He was gracious and blissful. Soon I was out of the hospital. I tried to share my experience with those around me, but they were skeptical. They said it was a hallucination that was created. I just want everyone to know, there is life after death. There is something more beautiful waiting for everyone. It's something that can't be explained. Today's second story comes from a 35-year-old woman. When she was 11 years old, she died in surgery. Escorted to heaven by an angel and met Jesus. Jesus gave her a job and brought her back to earth. Let's get started. This experience happened when I was 11 years old. I was in school at the time and I felt a pain in my stomach. My father told me to give the teacher a leave of absence. The pain soon went away again, and I thought I might have eaten unclean food. I didn't go home right after the leave. I played outside until school time. My father was very angry and thought I was lying, because I looked so normal. The next day, I still felt pain in my stomach and my mother thought I was lying again. She sent me to school anyway. After breakfast at school, I started vomiting nonstop. The teacher told my father about the situation. My father was a little disbelieving at first. The teacher stressed the seriousness of the situation. My mother quickly came to the school and prepared to take me to the hospital. I was vomiting the whole way. The fever was getting worse and I started to hallucinate. I saw things that were not very real. I was admitted to the hospital. The anesthesiologist held my head down, put a mask over my face, and told me to breathe deeply. Then I lost consciousness. All I remember is floating in the air and then seeing a light that was so beautiful. An angel appeared out of the light. She had long blonde hair and was wearing a soft white robe. She put her hand behind me, but did not touch me. I felt as if she was guiding me to something. We could communicate without speaking, and we both knew exactly what the other was thinking. Here, you will know what others are thinking. Because there is no evil here, people here are much less likely to lie. This surprised me at the time. She told me not to worry, that it was safe here and that everything would be fine. In fact, I wasn't scared at all here, just a little nervous. I could feel her friendliness. She said, I must be taken to a special place where we float in the air together. This fascinated me very much. I'm sure many children, like me, dream of flying like a bird. I was so excited. We floated to a place that was illuminated by flowers of various colors. Some of the colors I had never seen before. Our words couldn't describe it properly, and the flowers came in many different shapes. It felt like all the flowers here were alive. They glow with light. I saw a small river and the water was very clean. There was a small bridge above the river. It looked so peaceful here. We walked across the bridge. I noticed another light in the distance. It was so dazzling. It was slowly approaching us. The light was so interesting that no matter how close it was to me, I could look straight at it because its light didn't hurt my eyes. I also thought of a detail that there were no shadows or any dark places in that space. This light was getting closer and closer, and I felt a powerful love. In life my mother didn't seem to like me much, so I never felt her love. My father loved me, and my teachers loved me. They often showed love and care for me. But none of them loved me as strongly as they did now. The light came to me. Then the angel pushed me forward. I looked up at her, and I wanted her to be with me. She informed me, "You must go forward on your own and be a brave child." So I went forward and I thought he was Jesus. He held out his hands to me and said, "Come closer, little one, it's safe here, don't be afraid." I began to cry, a love I had never felt in my life before this moment. I pleaded with him to take me home, not back to my home on earth. I was also confused as to why I had said such a thing. Why I thought this was my true home. He told me to be quiet. He told me, "Your time is not up yet to go with him because there is an important job that I need to finish. You have to love everyone, no matter what they do. They will do a lot of things to hurt you, but you have to forgive them. It's a very difficult job. Are you sure you can do it?" I didn't hesitate to agree. But apparently, the job was harder than I thought. That's when he reminded me that I had to go back now. And to remember that he was with me. I asked him, "So will you take me home afterwards? Will you come pick me up after I'm done working for you?" I got an affirmative answer. As much as I would like to stay here. But now, I have to go back and love everyone around me. He reminded me that the people I love may do terrible things that will cause me great pain, but I can't hate them or do anything to hurt them, I can only choose to accept and forgive. I will never forget this day. When I woke up, a nurse told me, "Your appendectomy was a success, you are a brave boy." I told her about my encounter with the angel and gave her some details. She replied, "Maybe the anesthetic made you hallucinate." I knew she was wrong. I knew what I had been through, the experience was so real. In the end, I chose to remain silent. The doctor who operated on me came to check on me. He started to introduce himself and I interrupted him by telling him, "I've seen you before, I already know him. Thank him for operating on me." He demurred to my statement because we had not met before. He entered the operating room only after I had inhaled the anesthetic. I also explained, I heard his conversation with the nurse. Again, he denied the incident, so I stopped arguing. My mother also taught me that arguing with elders is a rude thing to do. If my mother had found out that I was doing this, she would have criticized me. Not long after that, I left the hospital. There was a particularly kind nun at our school. I felt she was very special and I liked to spend time with her. I often talked to her after school. She told me that I was very special. I was also especially comfortable talking with her and I told her about my experience in the operating room. All of this will be kept in my memory forever. I couldn't wait to tell everyone that I had seen angels and God. My mom told me that I was lying just for attention. So I kept it all to myself until I told the nun. Her reaction was one of encouragement and joy. She told me, I must be very special in God's eyes for him to let the angels come to me. God loved me so much that I remember him calling me little one more than once. He held me tightly, even though I didn't see arms or a body. I felt warmth and love. He assured me that he would come for me. He even knew no one would believe a word I said. I was very lucky to have that experience. I felt the warmest hugs and the purest love there. I did not forget the task God gave me. As difficult as this job is, I will work hard to complete it. I know that one day, I will meet him again and be with him forever.